What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Our first question comes from Stuart Tierney, who asks if the Force is hereditary or a product of natural selection, and also wants to know if Yoda's entire species is Force sensitive.
I kind of wanted to focus on the Yoda part, but for hereditary and natural selection, no. The Force doesn't have to be hereditary. I think it can be, but it's not always that way.
Yeah,
we've talked about this before, but
yeah, it's like the mighty Skywalker blood it was a little stronger in some of the Skywalkers than others, but it can't be something in everyone's family because then there would be just a ton of Jedi.
I always like to go back to the Shan family from Star Wars Legends. Bastila Shan, Force sensitive. Satele Shan, Force sensitive. Theron Shan, not Force sensitive. So just because...
Swing and a miss.
Yeah, just because your parents were Jedi doesn't mean you're going to be one.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
For him.
Reminds me, there was like a Jedi or a Disney Channel original movie about a kid who, like, his whole family was superheroes and he didn't get superpowers. And it was a bummer for him.
That's where supervillains come from.
But he was still a hero. That's what that story told us. You don't need superpowers to be a hero.
Right. But as far as Yoda's species, I mean, the only members of his species we've seen so far have been Force sensitive, so it could be, but I don't know.
I think they are, for that reason. We've only seen 3 of them in canon. There were a few more in Legends, but they were also Force sensitive. So I'm kind of thinking, especially right now, of the 3, we got Yoda, Yaddle, and Baby Yoda. They're all Force sensitive. I kind of think that they might be the exception to the rule.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that too. But I hope that if we're ever introduced to his home world and we see lots more of the species, I hope that there aren't that many of them.
Yeah.
I hope that there's not just like a million Force sensitive Yoda beings out there somewhere just like minding their own business, using the Force willy-nilly.
Totally agree. I think they should be a very rare species that they live for so long that they can endure without having to have like a huge population. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Totally agree. I wouldn't want to show up and be like, oh gosh, it's 7 billion Yoda populating this planet.
Caleb Diaz wants to know if Emily Wus Zeller's casting as Doctor Aphra in the audio drama is a hint to her involvement in the role in the future.
That is something that I speculated because there have been rumors around for a while that Aphra would be getting like an animated Disney Plus series. Or maybe it was live action. I don't know. Like, we don't keep up with all the rumors. But I had heard animated before, and the fact that they are casting someone to voice Aphra made me go like, I wonder. I could see it. And Emily Wu, I just forgot her last name. Zeller. Yeah. She is mostly a voice actress. I've looked her up on IMDb, and so I don't think she would be playing her live action. It's still possible, but if they were to go the animated route, I could see that happening.
Yeah. I haven't really heard rumors of an animated Aphra show, but I think that would be a perfect... Well, okay, so I think the audio drama is a perfect jumping off point to be like, okay, people have been introduced to this character through the comics. Now there's an audio drama, like slowly getting her more and more popular with the fans, and then being like, boom, animated show.
Exactly. Like that does make me wonder why they chose to do this audio drama. And not only that, but it is her origin story, but told more from her point of view. Not her origin story, but like her introduction to the Star Wars canon from the Darth Vader comics. We're like basically covering that again.
Yeah, it's a retelling of her stuff from the comics, right?
Right, but in a very different way. And even from the cast list alone, you can tell that we're going to see a lot of stuff we didn't see in the comics. Because Aphra just kind of weaves in and out of Darth Vader's story.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get to focus on her.
Yeah, there was like Boba Fett, Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people.
Sana Starros.
Yeah, a lot of people on that list that's like very exciting.
Yeah. Even though it is like a retelling, I'm like, clearly we're getting a whole lot more than just that. There's still going to be new stuff. And I've always loved the character, and I hope that they do continue to push her into a bigger and bigger audience.
Alden Diaz asks if The Mandalorian Season 2 could teach us more about how the Dark Saber is physically and mystically different from a normal lightsaber.
I think there's potential there, and Alden suggested like the Armorer is a character and is still around. She seems like someone that might know a little more of the history.
Yeah, I could see her finding out about it, seeing it, and then just like going into a very serious montage explanation of where it came from, how it was forged.
Yeah. I feel like it's something they're going to have to get into anyway, as in everyone that watches The Mandalorian probably didn't see the Clone Wars. So I think they're going to have to take a little time to just be like, here's what this thing is. And when they do that, I hope and assume that they will give the people that already know what the Darksaber is a little bit more to learn, kind of the way they did in Star Wars Rebels, because people who hadn't seen Rebels, they still got a little history lesson about the Darksaber. We learned a little more. So I'd love for them to kind of keep doing that.
Yeah, I think most people just think it's a black lightsaber or a Mandalorian lightsaber. And, that's fine for now. But yeah, if they're going to have it be in the story, I hope that they go into it a little bit.
I'm sure they will. And you're right. Like, people don't need to know what it is right now. Like, people who hadn't ever heard of it before, when they see that in the show for the first time, they're just like, oh, it's a cool new lightsaber. What's that about? Can't wait to find out later.
Yeah. Lane Owen wants to know if it would be worth it to master things like power allocation and shield direction in Star Wars Squadrons. This is not something I'm going to even attempt to master, so what do you think?
So I had to take a Squadrons question for the week because I'm still really excited about it. So they've gone into like all these little mechanics and stuff where you can put your power into shields or engines or your weapons, and it'll make everything more or less powerful depending on what you want to do. And you can angle your deflector shields to the front or the back or evenly all around. And it is a lot. It sounds like a lot. I think this game is going to be something where anyone can really quickly sit down and start flying. You probably don't have to worry about all those things. You can still have fun. But I think that if you do worry about that stuff, it's going to give you an edge. You'll be slightly more competitive. And I think it'll be like just a slightly better fight in your favor, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's hard to say now because we don't have the game yet. We don't know how difficult it's going to be to do all that and play the game at the same time. But yeah, I mean, if you decide to master how to put power in all of your shields, then you're going to be harder to take down. Or if you put all of your power in your weapon systems, then you're going to do more damage. So yeah, it just depends on the mechanics of the game and like all the buttons you have to press.
Well, we were talking about this before we were recording, and it made me think of Mario Kart 8. So you can just hop into a kart. Like when I race, I am Luigi because he's better than Mario.
Go ahead and tell the story
I'm going
of our
to.
friend.
So I'm always Luigi because he's better than Mario. And I put him in the standard kart with the standard tires and the standard glider. Like, I don't change a thing. And Luigi is one of the like purely balanced characters. And I have friends that I play with who really change the tires and like get into, well, which kart am I going to drive and this or that. But you don't have to do all that. It can help you fit to your play style. But my playstyle is very balanced. So I don't spend all that time fiddling with my cart, and I can still beat them. Not all the time, But like I genuinely made a friend mad because he like has this cart that he's been tinkering with forever, and I was like, all right, it's me, Luigi, with my normal thing, and I beat him, and he was frustrated by that. So I think it's going to be comparable to that, where you don't have to like be perfect at managing all of your things, or like you can switch components out of your ships and you can find this perfect combination and it'll probably match your play style, but it's not going to make you like far and away unkillable and better than everyone else. They've put a lot of thought into the balance of this game from what I've read, and I like that a lot.
I just made myself giggle because I had the thought of, so when you play Bowser in Mario Kart, it makes you slower, right?
Yes, but harder to like knock around.
Would that be like a Porkins situation?
I guess.
Is Porkins Bowser?
I suppose.
Harrison Edgar asks if the Mandalorian books that are coming out would ward off casual viewers who don't want to have to read books to understand the story.
Harrison also throws out the idea that the books could be like a gateway for new fans who are like fans of The Mandalorian to get into the larger universe of Star Wars. I think that's far more likely. I mean, these books coming out from The Mandalorian aren't anything new for Star Wars.
Right.
They've always had books, and I've definitely seen people complain like, I shouldn't have to read a book to understand what's going on in the movie or now the TV show. And it's like, I don't think you're going to have to.
That's just simply not the case. Like, it will possibly enhance your experience or enhance your love for a certain character, but it's not not required reading. Right.
The Phasma book was absolutely not required reading for The Last Jedi. There have been a couple where it's enhanced my enjoyment of certain characters or films, but you didn't have to read them. Like Catalyst, the Rogue One novel, I think is the closest thing where that really enhances the Galen Erso Orson Krennic relationship, and Lyra Erso. Like, all that meant so much more to me seeing Rogue One. So there is a balancing act there, but for the most part, I think it's more about, hey, here's someone who loves The Mandalorian. Maybe that was their entry point into Star Wars. And now they can read books about it and learn more about the universe and the reference books and stuff. I don't see it being any hurdle. And most people aren't even going to know about these books. Most people that watch The Mandalorian don't even know books are coming out.
I mean, well, we buy just about every reference book that comes out, and I've come to really enjoy them and being like, oh, what's the name of this thing, and who's this character? And I'm excited to find out about Dave Filoni's pilot character and Deborah Chow, and it's just, and like, don't look down on people who don't read the books and say that like, oh, if you don't read the books, you're not dedicated enough to the fandom, because that's simply just not the case. Like, I don't read every book and comic that comes out, but I try to stay updated with most of them, so I know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's just gatekeeping to be like, oh, well, you can't really be a Mandalorian fan if you didn't read that book. Like, no. And like most Star Wars fans don't read the books. They certainly don't read all of them. They don't read all the comics. Like, that's most people who signed up for Disney Plus and loved The Mandalorian. I would be shocked if like most of them knew books were on the way. Like, it's just for like the diehard Star Wars fans who want to maybe get into these other aspects.
I mean, unless it's just like a book full of pictures of Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that's a worldwide bestseller in an instant. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films, and we're doing commentaries for all of the Clone Wars episodes, and this week it's Citadel Rescue, so that's all available right now if you're interested.
On to YouTube questions. Jacob Arner asks why the sixth brother wasn't punished for cutting off the ninth sister's leg in the Darth Vader comics.
All right, quick recap of the comics. The Inquisitors are on Mon Cala hunting a Jedi, and he sicks a bunch of clone troopers on them. He basically reactivates Order 66. So the clone troopers just shoot at every Force sensitive in the area, and to escape, the sixth brother cuts off the ninth sister's leg and runs away, and the ninth sister threatens to kill him, but nothing ever comes of that.
That's just sibling business,
right?
Honestly,
I think that's pretty close to the answer. Is that's just kind of the nature of the dark side. They stab each other in the back, and like even in the Darth Bane trilogy, when Sith students are learning, their teachers are like, "Now, don't you go killing each other, but if you do, just make sure we don't." No, you did it. Like, wink, wink. Like, that's what the dark side does. But also, we know the sixth brother died, like, really soon after the Darth Vader comics. So it might have been like the ninth sister was plotting her revenge and then just didn't get to follow through with it.
Aaron wants to know if Maul and Obi-Wan think Luke is the chosen one in Star Wars Rebels. So I guess this is the episode where Obi-Wan finally gets to kill Maul, and they have a little conversation about Luke.
Yeah.
And is it Maul that asks?
Yeah, he's like, is he the chosen one, the person you're protecting? And Obi-Wan says he is. And then Maul dies.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that they both believe Luke is the chosen one. Dave Filoni, I mean, this is coming from Dave Filoni and him talking about the episode. And I kind of wanted to talk about this because we talked about Chosen One stuff last week and how there are multiple Chosen Ones.
In every generation.
Right. I still think Anakin is the Chosen One of prophecy, but there are still, like, this has been talked about. Like, people were arguing, just saying that even George Lucas said Anakin is the Chosen One. I'm like, he's that Chosen One. He's the Chosen One of prophecy, but lots of different Star Wars stories have talked about vessels of the Force, and Anakin was the vessel for that era. I think Luke was a vessel. Rey is a vessel, probably Ben Solo. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a thing.
Well, they're a dyad.
Right.
Double vessel.
That's what that means. So there have always been chosen ones, I think, but Anakin is probably the biggest one, the one that prophecy was about. And I think at that point in time, Obi-Wan didn't think it was true anymore and had shifted his faith into Luke.
Yeah. It would be interesting going back to High Republic time if there is a specific vessel or chosen one character in that time period.
Yeah, that will be. Especially when they're going to introduce all these characters. It'll be kind of interesting to keep an eye out and see who the most influential person was. And like, I wouldn't even, a vessel of the Force could be Sith or like someone on the dark side. I would guess is that whatever the Force wants, the cosmic force is trying to like guide events. And if they want things to go bad,
yeah,
there could, and that's again from the Darth Bane Legends books, there is a Sith chosen one. So
yeah, it could be something that they're trying to get away from in the High Republic time. Like, there is no Anakin or Luke or Rey type character. They're just all cool, and
that's true.
No one is like the special chosen one.
Well, honestly, like, I'm perfectly fine with that as well. Like, I accept this idea that in every generation there's like a vessel of the Force or whatever, but I am perfectly fine if we never get another, like, I'm just not a fan of the chosen one trope. I just like heroes who do what's right because they want to and not because some prophecy told them that they had to.
Yeah. Just like at the end of Buffy when the chosen one becomes the chosen many.
Right. Just because it's the way it's always been doesn't mean you can't break the cycle like Buffy does.
Buffy explained. Lavernius Tucker asks if Sabine and Ezra had feelings for each other in Rebels.
I meant to add this to the question, but they also say, how could that play out in this Rebels sequel series that has been rumored for feels like forever now? Yeah, I don't know anymore. Like, definitely early on, Ezra had a crush on Sabine. It seemed like that developed more and more into just like a brother-sister relationship.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It came off way more brother, sister, best friend kind of thing.
To bring up like a sibling rivalry again, especially when they're training Sabine how to use the Dark Saber, and like Ezra's kind of giving her some crap, and then she hits back. Like that felt more just friendly to me.
Yeah.
But you never know. That could play into the future of their story.
Sarah Zarin wants to know if the Jedi Order is taxpayer funded or how they get their money. This is a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I think they would have to be. They're the protectors of the Republic. Like, they are very strongly affiliated with the galactic government. Yeah, I don't know where else they'd get their money.
Are they like the Salvation Army? How do they get their money?
I don't know. Santa's?
Santa's.
I honestly don't know. I mean, probably donations and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see them collecting donations and having like hologram drives.
Yeah,
fundraisers.
It's never really talked about, and like maybe just because the Jedi have been around for so long, it's like they've acquired a lot of wealth. I don't know.
Jocasta Nu puts on a great bake sale every year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they were so closely tied with the Republic, and they were basically the Republic's military force when they didn't have one. They weren't supposed to be that, but like that's who they relied on. So I think the Republic would keep them housed and fed and trained, so they didn't have to worry about that stuff.
Or they just mind trick everyone into believing that they paid their bills. Oops. Julian Aguilera wants to know if we think that the rumors of Disney wanting to remove the sequel trilogy are true.
No.
No.